Brain Gain is sponsored by Farmers National Bank, Sweeney Chevrolet Buick GMC, the Mahoning Valley Manufacturers Coalition, and Southwoods Health.
Engineering is a field that is in high demand, and there's a lot of different avenues you could take with engineering.
Roads and bridges, or water or wastewater, architecture, there's a lot of different opportunities.
People think, well, there's civil, mechanical, electrical. Just take civil like we are, for instance. Within civil, there's still, 5 or 6 different avenues you could go within civil engineering.
In your day-to-day life is never going to be the same.
I serve as the city engineer for the city of Canfield, and I work with some other local communities.
I have just traded in my role as a project engineer for the Director of Quality Management.
Started my internship back in May of 2019, yes. And then basically I just reached the next level after each year, and then fortunately they gave me the opportunity to work here full time.
I do a lot of bridge design, also design other structures like retaining walls, tanks, large concrete tanks for water treatment plants.
I was brought in in the construction group and did some inspection out in the field, but when I expressed some interest to get into the design realm, they brought me into the water group here, and I started doing some smaller type designs, and really wanted to further my career and be in that leadership position. So I got a number of projects under my belt and then started managing my own projects.
I started off in construction inspection. I then moved into bridge inspection work, then became a bridge designer. I did that for a number of years, and then decided I wanted a more full picture of our whole career path, and so I moved into roadway engineering, and then that led me into project management.
The bigger companies, you have people that are just very specialized and pigeonholed into very specific things. Here at MS Consultants, I think everybody does a little bit of everything. You do what's needed. Every day is different. So from design through bidding, through construction, through management of staff, it makes it very interesting.
My grandpa always wanted me to be an engineer, and for the longest time I thought that he meant the guys that are on the railroads. But he was always he wanted me to go into the engineering field.
I was just one of those kids that would just step back and wonder how something was, or why something was built the way it is.
Ever since I can remember, I like taking things apart, seeing how things work, why, and understanding why they work.
As I was growing up, I had a pretty great imagination, and then I like putting things to life.
I knew I was probably going to be an engineer when I was in high school, just because of my interest in math and science.
If you're good in math and science, which that was kind of what led me to engineering. I was good at math and science, and it just kind of made sense.
Well, day to day, I'm overseeing the management of various projects that are going on in our community.
Any given day can be client meetings. I spend a lot of time out in the communities working on developing projects, getting input from administrations, and then we try to figure out how we're going to fund these projects.
Whatever deadline I have coming up first, we kind of prioritize which projects we're working on. Usually it's a week-by-week basis, not necessarily day-to-day. We plan out a little farther than that.
There's no such thing as day-to-day anything. Monday mornings are meetings. Once I get the Monday morning meetings out of the way, every single day is different. Pretty proud of every project that I'm involved in. The Phelps Street project downtown here, I know that that was recently completed.
Another project here locally that's at the forefront of everybody's attention is the Fifth Avenue project, so that's finishing up. So I was project manager on that project.
One of my favorite projects is the State Route 11 bridge in Canfield. It has spelled out in big letters, Canfield.
A couple years ago, the city of Canfield got hit with a really big storm, and they had portions of the city that just got a lot of water, and it stayed and it caused some damage. So we were able to secure a large grant for the city and to fix those problems. And so we're currently working on that design.
One of the very first projects I worked on was actually in my hometown. I'm from Poland, Ohio. One of the projects was the bridge in the Poland Municipal Forest.
That's the most gratifying part of being a structural engineer, is getting to see our design and our work come to fruition.
You take quite a bit of satisfaction when they're done. You can take a look back and say, hey, you know, I was involved with that project from its inception.
In engineering, it doesn't always sound exciting. What I do, you know, as a project engineer, I did utilities, so you can't see anything that I do. There's nothing fun. It's all underground. It's, you know, what I like to do. It's problem solving.
It's been a very rewarding field for me. I love the fact that I get to help communities and really make them a better place, and I hope leave them better than when I found it when I got there.
Don't be scared to try new things. Always be willing to step up and say, let me try that, let me do that, because you can learn from every experience every day.
The one biggest piece of advice that I give to a lot of people when they ask about engineering, and some people don't like it when I say it, but you have to be okay with failure. And I don't mean failure in the sense that you didn't accomplish something. Failure in the sense that you aren't going to know everything. You have to ask questions, you have to learn from mistakes.
If you really sit down and think about it, you entrust engineers with your life and your family and your safety so many times per day. You know, if you think about how many bridges you drove over here today, you know, to get here, you know, an engineer designed every little part and piece of that bridge to make sure that it's going to last and it's going to hold. There's a lot of things we're entrusting engineers to in our day-to-day lives that you don't even think about, that you take for granted.
Brain Gain is sponsored by Farmers National Bank, Sweeney Chevrolet Buick GMC, the Mahoning Valley Manufacturers Coalition, and Southwoods Health.